Hi, I'm Eric Jones, and you're listening to Verse by Verse. Today we're taking a look at Christ's words in Luke 9, verse 23. Speaking to his disciples and us today, Christ said, "If anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me." In just 19 words, Jesus highlighted 4 essential aspects of the Christian calling: desire, denial, sacrifice, and submission. Let's take a brief look at each. Christ began by saying, "If anyone desires to come after me." God doesn't force anyone to follow Jesus Christ. Though the Bible is clear that God initiates the process through a calling, after God has called a person, then the onus is on the individual to accept that calling. But it goes way beyond just passive acceptance. A person must desire a relationship with God, so much so that they're willing to prioritize Him and His way above all else. It can't be passive or something we begrudgingly agree to do. We must desire with our whole being to follow Jesus Christ. Let's move on to the next aspect: denial. Jesus said, "Let him deny himself." We shouldn't equate this with the forms of self-denial found in other faiths, particularly Eastern religions, where people are taught to deny the pleasures of life in an attempt to free themselves from suffering. This philosophy and other forms of asceticism are not what Jesus was talking about. Jesus was talking about the self-control necessary to deny ourselves what is forbidden by God's Word. When we follow Jesus, we are committing to obey Him. And that means we must deny ourselves anything we want or desire that is not within the confines of His law and His Word. In order to do this, a Christian must be well informed of the boundaries God has set in place within His Word, and then be vigilant to bring his or her life within those boundaries. Let's now move on to the third aspect: sacrifice. Jesus said, "Take up his cross daily." What did Jesus mean by take up his cross? Living under Roman rule, the disciples would have been well aware of Roman crucifixion. However, these words were really spoken to be understood later, after Jesus was crucified. The lesson is sacrifice. Christ willingly laid down his life for us by allowing himself to be brutally murdered on that torture device. Christians are likewise to sacrifice their life to follow God. That includes sacrificing their will, their desires, their life direction, their decisions, everything to follow God. Later, Paul would write that we must be crucified with Christ. We must sacrifice the old self. The old man must die. Now, this has nothing to do with carrying around a physical cross as a symbol. In fact, carrying around a torture device is a bit morbid when you think about it. But it has everything to do with sacrificing to obey and serve God. Now let's look at the fourth and final aspect of the calling: submission. Jesus concluded the statement with these words, "And follow me." In order to be a disciple, we must follow Christ. And to follow, we must practice submission. A Christian willingly gives up sovereignty over their life to follow Christ. To follow someone, you have to recognize that they know the right way to go and that you do not. Because of that, you let them lead. To be a Christian is to surrender your right to chart your own path in life and instead to follow Christ's path, to follow His steps. So to wrap this up, my friends, if you want to be a true disciple of Christ, Luke 9 verse 23 provides 4 essential action steps. 1. If anyone desires to come after me. 2. Let him deny himself. 3. Take up his cross daily. And 4. Follow me.
Verse by Verse is a Life, Hope, and Truth podcast. Check out the show notes to find more free content, like videos, articles, and booklets in our Learning Center.